With the NFL draft just around the corner, there's one thing Patriots fans can all agree on. This team absolutely needs help at wide receiver. I mean, yes, there are other roster holes that need to be addressed, but let's be real for a second. Are we really feeling confident about this current group of receivers heading into the season? Not exactly. And look, we're not talking about adding just anyone. The Patriots need to be smart about this. They need a guy who can come in, make an immediate impact, and grow alongside this young offense that's still trying to find its identity. Now, here's the real question. When should they draft a receiver, and more importantly, which one? That's where things get interesting. I've been digging through tape, looking at stats, reading scouting reports, and what I want to do is break it down by each round. That's right, one wide receiver target for each of the 7 rounds, based on who's likely to be available, and who fits what the Patriots actually need. Because let's face it, this team's track record when it comes to drafting receivers, yeah, it hasn't exactly been stellar, so we've got to be calculated about this. We've got to get it right. Before we even dive into the names, let me ask you something. Do you really think the Patriots will go after a wide receiver early? Because some folks believe we already have our WR1. But even if that's true, there's still room for more talent, especially when you look at the way this offense struggled to stay on the field last year. The fact that we're sitting on 9 picks in this year's draft gives the front office some flexibility. After a recent trade, we gained an extra 5th rounder, but lost one in the 7th. Still, the overall outlook hasn't changed much. My focus, though, is on the top 3 rounds, because that's where you find your difference makers. Anything from the 4th to the 7th round is more about building depth and taking flyers on upside. Let's talk first round. This is where it gets tricky. There's one wide receiver that I'd love to see in Foxborough, a true game changer, arguably one of the most explosive talents in this entire draft. But I'll be honest, I don't think he's going to be there when the Patriots are on the clock at pick number 4. He's just too good, and teams ahead of us have even bigger needs at wideout. As much as that top-tier receiver would be a dream pick, we can't count on that scenario. So what do you do when the guy you really want isn't available? You pivot. You take the best player on the board, even if that means addressing a different position. Don't force it. But, and this is a big but, if that elite wideout somehow slips through the cracks and is still available, you sprint to the podium. Now the 2nd round. That's where I've got my eyes locked in. That 38th pick feels like the sweet spot. That's where you go and grab a receiver who might not be a headline name, but he's got serious upside. I'm talking about a guy who brings legit speed, good hands, solid size, and can grow into a WR2 role right away. Someone who can complement whoever we have as our primary guy and create more versatility in the passing game. And when you look at the numbers, his catch radius, his separation on routes, the number of receptions he's had, it all points to a player ready to make the leap to the pro level. The key here is to not get caught chasing potential that hasn't shown itself on tape. You want a guy who's produced, who's delivered in big moments, and who's shown he can handle physical corners and tight coverage. Honestly, I've been on this train since the start of draft season. If the Patriots don't get their guy in round 1, then round 2 has to be the spot to strike a receiver. And here's where the strategy kicks in. If New England goes O-line or C first, then you come back and hit wide out hard in the 2nd. If they shock us and grab a WR early, then maybe you shift focus to the trenches in round 2. Either way, the top of this draft needs to be about fixing the offense. We need playmakers. We need guys who can help us move the chains and, more importantly, finish drives. There's a name that keeps coming up when I talk to other fans and look at scouting previews. Luther Burden. Now this guy, he's electric. We're talking 6 touchdowns, only 3 drops, and averaging over 11 yards per catch. That's a strong profile for a college wideout. But what really excites me is his chemistry with quarterbacks. There's this sense that when he's on the field, he just knows how to get open and make something happen. In fact, Drake May, the same quarterback who's been linked to the Patriots, looked amazing throwing to receivers like Burden. It's like they just clicked. Only 19 incomplete passes out of 61 throws to him. That's elite efficiency. And then there's the after-catch ability. Burden isn't just a possession guy. He's a nightmare to tackle in open space. One analyst even said he might be the best in this entire draft when it comes to creating yards after the catch. That's the kind of player we've been missing in New England. Someone who doesn't just move the sticks, but takes a 10-yard slant and turns it into a 40-yard gain. It's what separates average offenses from great ones. With the Patriots struggling to sustain drives last year, having a dynamic weapon like Burden could change everything. Now, if for some reason Burden's off the board or we go in a different direction in round 2, round 3 still offers some interesting talent. There's a wideout out of Iowa State that's caught my attention. Smaller frame, just 5'10", but don't let the size fool you. This guy put up over 1,200 receiving yards and 80 catches. That's production you can't ignore. And here's the thing, New England hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver in a while. Getting a guy who can step in and stretch the field like that will be a huge step forward. He's not a WR1, but he could definitely challenge for WR2 or WR3 reps, especially with the current competition on the depth chart. The staff even brought him in for a pre-draft visit, which shows there's real interest. No one knows exactly how that meeting went, but usually when the coaching staff brings someone in, it means he's on the radar. And when you look at his tape, you see a player with strong route running, dependable hands, and the kind of shiftiness you want out of a slot or Z receiver. There's even been some comparisons to other versatile receivers in the league, guys who don't just rely on straight line speed, but who can break tackles, find the soft spots in zone coverage, and keep the chains moving. Over his last 24 games, he's hauled in 119 targets for 80 catches, over 1,200 yards, and averaged nearly 15 yards per reception. That's legit. Only 4 drops in 14 games too. That tells you he's got the hands to match. Now here's where things get real. If the Patriots don't land a solid WR in the first 3 rounds, things get dicey. From rounds 4 to 7, you're mostly talking about developmental players, prospects, with upside, sure, but guys who need time coaching and maybe even a season on the practice squad to reach their potential. But hey, sometimes those late round picks turn out to be steals. That's why we're going to keep going round by round, because there's still more names on my list, and I'm telling you, if New England plays their cards right, they could come out of this draft with not just depth, but actual answers at the wide receiver position. So let's keep the momentum going and dive into the later rounds, because while the spotlight is always on the early picks, we all know real gems can be found on day 3. You just have to know what you're looking for. When we hit round 4, the name that pops up for me is Jaylen Royal. Now, I'll be honest, this might be a bit of a gamble. Royal's stock has been rising, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone grabs him near the end of the 3rd, but if he's still on the board by the time New England is picking in the 4th, man, you've got to pull that trigger. What makes Royal interesting isn't just his numbers, though they are solid, with over 800 receiving yards, 55 catches, and 15 yards per reception, but his feel for the game. There's an intelligence in the way he runs routers, the way he reads defenders, and how he creates space. It's not just about raw athleticism with him. He understands leverage, timing, and how to manipulate defensive backs. You can see it on tape. He'll bait a corner with a subtle head fake or a delayed cut, and then boom, separation. It's nuanced. It's polished. He's not just playing football. He's playing chess out there. There's even been some low-key comparisons between Royal and a guy like Stephon Diggs. Not saying he's Diggs right now, but he has that type of skill set, that blend of crisp route running and strong hands. And when you think about what that could mean for a young quarterback, it gets exciting. A guy like Royal doesn't need to be wide open to make the play. He knows how to win contested catches, how to adjust mid-route, and he's only going to get better with NFL-level coaching. I'd love to see him learn under a veteran, grow into the system, and become a real contributor, maybe even sooner than people expect. That's the thing about the 4th round. It's a zone where teams can either find major value or completely swing and miss. You're not looking for just raw traits. You're looking for guys who can adapt quickly, who've got a strong football IQ, and who won't be overwhelmed by the speed of the game. Royal checks a lot of those boxes. And honestly, with how thin the Patriots wide receiver depth chart is, a guy like him might not just make the roster. He might see meaningful snaps before midseason. Now shifting into the 5th round, I've got my eyes on Felton out of Maryland. He's a bit taller at 6'2", around 183 pounds. And let me tell you, this guy can fly. He's clocked in the low 4.3s in the 40-yard dash. And that kind of speed, paired with his size, is a weapon. Felton racked up over 1,200 yards and showed he can stretch the field. He's what I'd call a vertical threat. Someone who can keep safeties honest and open up the middle of the field for your tight ends and slot receivers. The thing with Felton is, you're not drafting him to be your WR1. You're drafting him to be a matchup problem. Put him on the outside, let him blow past slower corners, and give your quarterback a deep ball option. And look, with the kind of struggles we've had pushing the ball downfield, someone with his skill set is exactly what this offense needs. Of course, like a lot of day 3 prospects, he's still raw. Needs to polish his route running and work on his release at the line, but that speed, that's not something you can coach. And that's where coaching comes into play. Under a guy like McDaniels, if he's still calling the shots, you could see Felton used in creative ways. Jet sweeps, go routes, even screen passes to get the ball in his hands early. He's got the build and the burst to make those plays dangerous. And if the Patriots end up moving on from someone like Keyshawn Boutte, or if one of the younger guys doesn't step up, Felton could slide right in and fill that role. Let's fast forward a bit. No 6th round pick this year due to the recent trade. So we're jumping straight to round 7. And yeah, I get it. 7th round picks are often treated like lottery tickets, but occasionally one of those tickets hits. There's one wide receiver I've been keeping an eye on. Not a household name, but his numbers speak for themselves. 104 catches, 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, only 6 drops. That's legit production, especially considering the offense he played in. Longest reception, 45 yards. So we're not just talking about a volume guy. He's got big playability too. Now does he have some flaws? Sure, you're picking in the 7th round for a reason. Maybe the speed isn't elite. Maybe the route tree is limited. But you can't teach production. And this guy knows how to find the end zone. He's 6'2", which is right in that ideal frame for the NFL. And he's tough. That matters, especially for a team like New England that prides itself on toughness and discipline. Even if he doesn't make the final roster, he's the kind of player you want in camp. Pushes others, raises the level of competition. Maybe he sticks on the practice squad. Maybe he turns into something more. The real question at this point is, will the Patriots even go wide receiver this late? There are so many other positions that need help. Quarterback depth, maybe a kicker running. Back edge rusher, even safety. It's not a guarantee, but if the board falls the right way and a guy like this is still sitting there, take the shot. Worst case, he's a camp body. Best case, he's a surprise of the summer. But if we're being honest, the Patriots absolutely should not wait until the 7th round to address wide receiver. That's just not good strategy. The offense needs help now. It needs juice. It needs playmakers. And that's why if I had to lock in one round where I believe the Patriots should target a wide receiver, it's the 2nd. That 38th pick is sitting there like a gift. The top tier guys are probably gone by then. But that next group, still loaded with talent. You got guys who can step in on day 1, learn the playbook, and start making an impact by mid-season. It's also about giving your young quarterback the tools to succeed. We've seen what happens when you surround a rookie QB with average talent. It's a struggle, but you give him a legitimate receiver, someone who can win one-on-one battles, someone who can make a play after the catch, and suddenly the whole offense starts clicking. You're not just helping the receiver room, you're giving your quarterback a fighting chance. And let's be honest, with how stacked the AFC is right now, the Patriots can't afford to fall behind any further. So, yeah, I want to hear from you. Do you think New England should go wide receiver in the 1st, or wait until round 2 and get better value? Maybe you've got a sleeper pick you're high on for the later rounds. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get this conversation going. Because one thing's for sure, this draft is going to shape the future of this franchise, and wide receiver might just be the most important piece of the puzzle. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a surprising turn of events, a major piece of information has seemingly leaked regarding the New England Patriots draft plans. Sources close to the team have revealed that Will Campbell, the highly rated offensive tackle out of LSU, is expected to be their 1st round pick in this year's NFL draft. Campbell, a towering figure at 6'6" and 320 pounds, has garnered significant attention for his exceptional blend of size, strength, and agility. His ability to protect the quarterback's blind side and create lanes in the run game has made him one of the most coveted offensive linemen in this draft class. Throughout his time at LSU, Campbell showcased his versatility, playing across multiple positions along the offensive line, which adds a layer of flexibility that is highly valued by NFL teams. For the Patriots, selecting Campbell makes a lot of sense. New England's offensive line has seen some changes over the past couple of seasons, with key departures and injuries impacting their ability to protect the quarterback. The addition of a player like Campbell could provide the stability and improvement needed for the Patriots to regain their offensive dominance. One of the team's most pressing needs heading into the draft was bolstering their offensive line, particularly with the recent struggles of their quarterback position. Mac Jones, in particular, has faced mounting pressure over the last 2 seasons, and strengthening the offensive line could give him the protection he needs to develop into a more consistent and effective signal caller. What's also intriguing about the potential selection of Campbell is how it could affect the Patriots' long-term plans. The offensive tackle is often a cornerstone of a team's offensive scheme, and Campbell's athleticism and power would fit well in the Patriots system, where protection and the ability to run the ball have always been crucial components. If he can adjust to the speed of the NFL and continue his impressive development, Campbell has the potential to be a key figure on New England's line for years to come. Though the news has yet to be confirmed officially by the Patriots, the leak has already generated plenty of buzz among fans and analysts alike. If true, the selection of Campbell would mark a significant move by head coach Bill Belichick, known for making bold and sometimes unexpected choices in the draft. As the NFL draft draws closer, all eyes will be on the Patriots to see if they truly pull the trigger on Campbell or if another surprise choice awaits. One thing is for certain, this year's draft will be one to remember for New England as they look to rebuild their roster with youthful talent and perhaps the future cornerstone of their offensive line. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.